I know that hurts.
I can handle it.
For 14 days, she smiled. 14 days of pretending she wasn't in pain. 14 days of walking through the busiest corridors of the Galactic Engineering Academy while hiding the damage beneath layers of armor. Nobody noticed. Not the doctors. Not the instructors. Not even the hundreds of alien students who passed her every morning. But on the 14th day, one human engineer looked at her for less than 10 seconds and knew something was wrong. His name was Daniel Cross. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a politician. And he definitely wasn't supposed to interfere with alien medical problems. He was just a human engineer assigned to repair the Academy's failing reactor systems. But Daniel had something the aliens didn't understand. Humans were exceptionally good at noticing when something was pretending to work. And that included machines. Sometimes it included people. What Daniel discovered beneath the woman's armor would change both of their lives. Because her pain wasn't caused by an ordinary injury. It was caused by something much more dangerous. Something the entire Academy had been trying to hide. The alien woman's name was Seraya. She belonged to the Ver species, one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Her people had built ships that could cross entire star systems in minutes. Their medical technology could regenerate damaged organs. Their cities floated above planets. And their warriors were trained from childhood to suppress pain. To the Ver, pain was weakness. And weakness was failure. Seraya had spent years proving she was anything but weak. She was one of the Academy's best cybernetic engineers. She could repair a damaged navigation core faster than most instructors. She could identify a power fluctuation simply by listening to it. And she had never once asked for help. Then, 14 days earlier, something happened. During a routine reactor test, the station experienced a microscopic energy surge. Nobody was seriously injured. At least, that's what the official report said. But Seraya had been standing next to the reactor. For less than a second, an energy pulse passed through her cybernetic implants. She collapsed. When she woke up, the doctors told her she was perfectly healthy. Seraya knew they were lying, because the pain had never stopped. It was always there. Sometimes it felt like electricity burning through her nerves. Sometimes it felt like a blade twisting underneath her skin. And sometimes it became so intense that she couldn't breathe. But she never complained. She never cried in front of anyone. She simply stood up every morning and continued working. Then Daniel Cross arrived at the Academy. The humans had only recently been accepted into the interspecies engineering program. Most aliens considered humans primitive. Their technology wasn't elegant enough. Their ships weren't beautiful enough. Their medical systems were considered outdated. And their engineers had a strange reputation. Humans didn't always solve problems the way everyone else did. They improvised. They modified. They broke things apart just to understand how they worked. Daniel didn't care what anyone thought. His assignment was simple. Repair the Academy's secondary reactor before the annual interstellar engineering demonstration. On his first morning, he saw Seraya. She was standing beside a damaged power console. Daniel watched her place one hand against the table. For a fraction of a second, her fingers trembled. Then she pulled her hand away. She looked around. Nobody had noticed, except Daniel. He didn't say anything. Not yet. The next morning, Daniel saw it again. Seraya entered the laboratory early. She walked normally. She spoke normally. She even laughed when another engineer made a joke. But when she thought nobody was watching, her breathing changed. Slow, controlled, almost mechanical. Daniel looked at the medical monitor connected to the room. Seraya's heart rate was normal. Her blood oxygen was normal. Her temperature was normal. Everything looked perfect. But Daniel had spent years repairing machines. And machines had taught him something important. When every visible measurement says a system is healthy, but the system keeps behaving incorrectly, you stop trusting the measurements. Daniel walked over. Your left arm. Seraya froze. What about it? You keep protecting it. Her expression hardened. I do not. You just did it again. Seraya stared at him. Then she smiled. I think your human senses are malfunctioning. Daniel smiled back. Maybe. Then he added quietly, but your arm is definitely malfunctioning. For the first time in 14 days, Seraya looked afraid. Daniel asked her to sit down. She refused. He asked again. She refused again. Then her knees suddenly buckled. Daniel caught her before she hit the floor. For a moment, the entire laboratory went silent. Seraya tried to stand. Daniel wouldn't let go. Stop. I am fine. No. Her eyes narrowed. You are not my doctor. No. Daniel replied. I'm an engineer. He pointed toward the cybernetic interface beneath her shoulder. And that isn't biological. Seraya became completely still. Daniel carefully scanned the implant. His expression changed. There was something inside her cybernetic system. A tiny energy signature. Almost invisible. It was pulsing through her nervous system every 11 seconds. Daniel had never seen anything like it. Who installed this? Seraya didn't answer. Seraya. Still nothing. Then she whispered, The Academy. Daniel looked at her. Why? Her eyes dropped. Because they told me it was necessary. Necessary for what? Seraya finally looked at him. To keep me alive. Daniel spent the next several hours studying the implant. What he found terrified him. The device wasn't protecting Seraya. It was controlling her. Every 11 seconds, it released a microscopic electrical pulse into her nervous system. The pulse wasn't strong enough to kill her. It wasn't even strong enough to disable her. It was designed to create pain. Constant pain. Controlled pain. And the reason was even worse. The implant was collecting data. Every reaction. Every movement. Every neural response. The Academy had been testing a new generation of cybernetic soldiers. Seraya wasn't a patient. She was a test subject. For 14 days, she had been experiencing controlled pain while the Academy measured how long a VAR engineer could continue working normally. Daniel stared at the data. How many others? Seraya didn't answer. How many? She finally whispered. 32. Daniel's expression hardened. 32 students. 32 test subjects. And all of them had been told the same lie. That their pain was a necessary part of medical treatment. Daniel asked the obvious question. Why didn't you report them? Seraya looked away. To whom? The administration. They approved the experiment. The medical department? They designed it. The authorities? They signed the contract. Daniel had no answer. Seraya continued. My family believes I am studying here because I was chosen for the elite engineering program. She paused. If I expose them, they will destroy my career. Daniel looked at her. They're already destroying you. I know. The words came out almost like a whisper. And that was the first time Daniel understood why she had hidden the pain. It wasn't because she was fearless. She was terrified. She simply believed she had no other choice. Daniel stood up. Then he looked at the Academy's central network. I can remove the implant. Seraya immediately shook her head. No. Why? Because the moment you do, they'll know. Daniel looked at her. Then we'll make sure they don't know. Daniel didn't attack the Academy. He didn't threaten anyone. He didn't even tell the other humans. Instead, he did what humans had been doing for centuries. He built something. Daniel created a small device from spare reactor components. It looked almost useless. A piece of metal no larger than his hand. Seraya watched him work. What does it do? It lies. She stared at him. Daniel smiled. It sends the Academy's system exactly what it expects to see. Normal neural patterns. Normal pain responses. Normal implant activity. The system would believe everything was functioning perfectly. But the implant itself would no longer control her. Daniel worked through the night. For the first time in 14 days, Seraya slept without pain. When she woke up, she couldn't understand what had happened. She touched her shoulder. Nothing. No burning. No electric pulse. No invisible pressure inside her body. Just silence. She looked at Daniel. You did it. He nodded. Seraya's eyes filled with tears. Why? Daniel looked confused. Why what? Why help me? Daniel thought about it for a moment. Then he said, because you asked. I never asked. Daniel smiled. You didn't have to. The plan worked. For 3 days. Then the Academy discovered something unusual. Seraya's pain levels had dropped. The administrators panicked. They activated the emergency protocol. Security teams entered the engineering wing. Every laboratory door locked simultaneously. The students were ordered to remain inside. And Daniel received a message. Surrender the unauthorized device immediately. He deleted it. A second message appeared. Human engineer Daniel Cross is ordered to report to Security Command. Seraya looked at him. They know. Daniel nodded. Good. She stared at him. Good. Daniel stood up. Now we don't have to hide. He connected his device to the Academy's central network. Then something happened that nobody expected. Instead of shutting the system down, Daniel opened every file, every medical record, every experiment, every name, every test result. The entire Academy suddenly received the same information. 32 students, 14 days of pain, and a secret program that had never been approved by the Galactic Medical Council. The Academy had tried to hide the truth,